Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions. Today, we discuss the 2025 evolution of the Greubel Forsey Nano Foudroyante EWT. The original was a 11-piece tantalum and white gold edition that came out in 2024, effectively the 20th anniversary watch for Greubel Forsey. This one right here is a 22-piece edition, all in white gold with accents such as the blued hands, the blued minute track, and this blued synthetic strap. So the watch is a new edition of 22 pieces, and it is mechanically identical to the original, which is to say it is still Greubel Forsey's 10th fundamental innovation. It is still the smallest watch ever made by Greubel Forsey, and this watch that you see right here is their first ever flying tourbillon. So this is a lot of firsts in a watch that is probably going to have broader appeal than any Greubel Forsey timepiece made previously, because any wrist can wear it. In white gold, it's 37.9 millimeters in diameter. It is 14.7 as I measure it, 47.2 lug-to-lug. It's got a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Again, this is the 22-piece edition for 2025, and it wears beautifully on my wrist. I can't say that 33 pieces is a huge global population of every version of the EWT. What I will say, though, is that 33 is not going to be enough, because when you consider how small this watch is on my wrist, not to say it's tiny or petite, just that it fits well, almost anyone, male or female, can enjoy Greubel Forsey watchmaking. This is a power watch for him and for her, and I'm not lying when I say this kind of watch is an exit watch. It is the last watch. Not because you're going to burn out on watchmaking, just because, well, how would you ever top it? So let's say this will work on a 13.5 centimeter circumference wrist, and again, mine was 16. The watch is beautiful. The strap, when I call synthetic, I mean it's not made of animal products. Since about 2021, Greubel Forsey has been phasing out its use of animal leather straps. So what you have here is a sort of Alcantara-style, high-quality synthetic suede on the bottom, a textile with stitching on the top. You can see folded edges, a little bit of bolstering to give it volume. What's nice here is that everyone wins. The animal gets to keep its skin. The watch collector, that's you and me, we get a more durable strap. And the strap itself is better suited to sweat, moisture, athletics. Not that you're going to wear this thing in the pool, but it is a longer lasting strap. And, you know, sometimes with straps, you want to really clean them off, but with leather, you hesitate. Whereas with this, you can really clean it down with water and soap, and it will be none the worse off. So this is a longer lasting strap and humane to boot. Taking a look at the buckle, it's probably the most ordinary part of the watch. Greubel Forsey white gold, a combination of polish and satin. You can see on the bottom there's also Media Blast on the reverse side. There's a little recess for the pin in the buckle. The case is fairly conventional as well. This is designed to be a refined and restrained effort by Greubel Forsey. All the fireworks are inside. So we have integrated lugs, Calatrava style. They come to a little bit of a rolled end. One feature that I do like is that this bevel that runs all the way down the mid case, it extends over the lugs, and then you can see it also extends around the end and below the lugs, continuing through the bottom of the case before resuming, looping back on the opposite side. So Stephen Forsey typically leads the technical development of these watches. Robert Greubel tends to focus more on the aesthetics. They're both accomplished watchmakers, but that's historically been the division of labor and focus at Greubel Forsey. And so this watch represents a fantastic melding of Stephen's technical acumen and sensibility with Robert's ability to, well, basically his range. He can do something as extravagant as the quadruple tourbillon, and then things like the double tourbillon 30-degree secret and this watch right here. Now, it is a twin pusher chronograph. Don't get confused. There are a lot of mono pusher retropont watches that feature two triggers like this, but you can actually stop the chrono and then re-engage it. It's not a mono pusher. You don't have to reset once you've stopped it. What this trigger here does, actually, let's watch this for a moment because it has instantaneous jumping minutes. I think you'd appreciate that. What this trigger right here does is it's a flyback action, so you can reset and restart without first stopping. So if you're going to time two events that occur in rapid succession, this is a preferable setup. You don't need to stop, reset, and restart. Also important, the watch uses a combination of an ultra crisp and beautifully crafted column wheel function selector with a vertical clutch that you cannot see on the case back, but you will appreciate on the dial side because a vertical clutch has no play. And when it engages, it has no jump or stagger. Also, because it doesn't involve the operation of meshing teeth. You don't have to worry about it not resetting to the index at 60, and you're allowed to run a vertical clutch chronograph on a full-time basis. So for example, let's say you just want to have center seconds. You don't want to read the sub-register right here. Well, you can do that with the vertical clutch. That's not a problem at all. You can just leave your chrono seconds going, fly back to synchronize, and treat it almost like a zero reset and hacking mechanism. That is one thing the watch does not have. If you pull the crown out, it doesn't hack, but that's just about the only feature it doesn't have. The dial is made of solid gold, and it's been given a rhodium plate to make it shinier and brighter. We have this lovely fired blue chaptering outboard for reading minutes, seconds, and fractions of seconds. All of the numerals and the indices, they've been engraved and then lacquer filled. There is actually a little bit of lume. We're going to take a look at it now. Taking a quick look at the dial itself, you can see there are these lovely polished rings around each sunken register. So the dial, which is solid gold and rhodium plated, has been mirror finished to create that polished ring effect. Now looking at the hands, what I really appreciate is the tiers. You can see the tiers of hands. We have hours, minutes, and then chronograph seconds. How each tier has been stepped and polished. The attention to detail is astonishing. And the chronograph seconds hand features a concave mirrored top. So the attention to detail and the time spent. You can realize why Greubel Forsey has decreed that henceforth it's going to focus on no more than 200 watches a year. In 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, it really looked like the push was going to be towards 500 watches and then infinity, but they've pulled back. They've refocused on their original no compromise mindset for watch development, so 200 is the limit, and they're darn close to 1 watch per employee in terms of annual production. Handsets like that are one reason why. Okay, the tourbillon. This movement features 428 parts, but 142 of them are in the tourbillon by itself. Now, it's a flying tourbillon, Greubel Forsey's first. What does that mean? It means there's no upper bridge to block your view of the works. So at the end of the day, you get to see that for which you've paid more easily. Now, it also has a red index. It acts as the seconds hand for the dial when the chronograph is not in action. You can also see that the Foudroyante is a permanent function and permanent feature of the tourbillon. Two interesting things to note here. First, Greubel Forsey has reduced the volume of the lightning seconds hand, Foudroyante, by 90%. Second, let's talk orders of magnitude. It takes approximately 30 microjoules to jump the hand one time on a conventional Foudroyante. Here, it is 16 nanojoules because the miniaturization of the mechanism, and a nanojoule is 1/1000th of a microjoule. Now let's take note of one other feature that is truly astonishing, which is how that 1/6 of a second register stays perfectly vertical. Notice that the numerals are not turning with the tourbillon. This register is remaining vertical no matter where it is on the dial. Let's take a deeper look. You can see there's a combination of wire brush frosting and then mirrored beveling, and then the tourbillon cage itself is made of titanium to reduce mass. There is a platinum counterweight for the Foudroyante on the opposite side of the tourbillon to keep everything balanced, and this being Greubel Forsey, it is a free-sprung 6-position adjusted balance with an overcoil hairspring to really act gravitationally agnostic and keep excellent time in any position. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the power reserve of this watch, and it's stated simply as 24 hours chronometric, and well, that wasn't enough for me. I believe details matter, and I wanted to dig deeper, so I went to the C-suite level at Greubel Forsey, and I was assured that chronometric power reserve is 24 hours, and that operating the chronograph doesn't meaningfully reduce the amplitude of the balance or the timing of the watch. Though if you were to turn the chronograph off, that 24-hour chronometric power reserve becomes an absolute reserve of something like 32 to 35. Now, that might be reconsidered as high as 40 for this generation of the watch, but initially the thought was let's try to get 32 to 35 with the chronograph off. Greubel Forsey may choose to re-rate the watch to 40 hours this year, so stay tuned. I don't believe the mechanism itself is changing. They're just reconsidering what they consider to be an appropriate and precise running power reserve here. It has the potential for 40. As of right now, chronograph off, it's like 32, 35. So what this means is that it will keep perfect time for 24 hours, and no matter the power reserve, they want you to run the watch in a manner consistent with a marine chronometer. So wind it at the same time every day, unflinchingly and unfailingly. So every 24 hours, the watch gets wound. That is their assumption. So 3 hertz, 21,600 vibrations per hour, very common beat rate with Greubel Forsey watches. 30 meters water resistant, so you don't want to take it swimming or anything. And the timepiece features a movement that is 31 millimeters in diameter, so it's actually a nice size. Valshu 7750 is a pretty big movement at 30 millimeters. This is a little bit bigger than that. So even though it's a smaller watch for Greubel, it's a big movement by watchmaking standards. It's a 42 jewel. It's a really cool looking movement on the backside. The bridges and the plates are made of maillot, so sort of nickel copper zinc alloy known as German silver when Lange is using it. But then it's rhodium plated to give it this silvery shine, and you can see they use a wire brush, almost like what you use to clean off your grill in the summer. They vertically dab the steel bristles of the wire brush on the bridges before it's rhodium plated to give it that frosted finish. Now, historically in La Chaux de Fonds, where Greubel Forsey is based, this would have been done with acid. That's kind of a messy and hazardous business, so it's done with a wire brush today. We have bevels a mile wide, done the right way, and finished off probably with some sort of gentian wood. They're rounded, they're mirrored, they're a mile wide, they're the good stuff, and you can see there's no shortage of interior angles where bevels meet and sharp creases back here. You can also see all the steel components, the underlying bridges, as well as some of the chronograph components. As I tilt the watch, note that they turn from bright white to black. That's pali noir, executed with a tin plate or diamond paste, and it's the highest standard of optical finish. We also have satination on the wheels, and take a look at the wheels. Get a good look right there, and you can see that we actually have internal beveling within the spokes of the wheels where the spokes meet the rim, as well as where the spokes meet the center of the wheel. So we have interior beveling in the satin finished wheels. Black polished screw heads, you can see both conventional and counterclockwise threaded. And then we have golden chaton cups fixing the pivot jewels, because that's how it would have been done in Greubel Forsey's watchmaking home back in the 19th century. Other elements to take note, well, I would say the text on the center wheel. People often ask me, what is it? In short, it's the watchmaking philosophy of Greubel Forsey in French. So, fine manufacturing, creativity, innovation, keeping time, and chronometry. All of that. Also important to note, take a look at this component right here where we have stainless steel brushed on the top and beveled on the edge. Zero compromise right here. And this watch protected by 2 distinct patents. So it's a real act of innovation. And one last note, a chronograph minutes register that goes up to 60, which I always love to see. This watch is simply full of surprises. But good things come in small packages. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions.